welcome. This is the annual AMA membership meeting that actually are required by our bylaws, that we meet with the membership once a year and provide information to you guys about the status of the AMA and future plans. And it gives you an opportunity to speak to the AMA leadership to ask any questions you might have. We actually do almost 2 of these years because we do a very similar meeting whenever Joe Null comes around. We do that usually on Thursday nights of Joe Null week. But this is the official one, so if anybody asks, you were at the official annual AMA membership meeting, remember that. What we're going to do tonight is give you a chance to, if you don't know them already, to hear from some of our AMA leadership, the vice presidents for the various districts. Chad and staff will be talking about headquarters initiatives. We'll also have Tyler Dobbs here from our government relations team to talk to you about, like we talk about every year, FAA and regulatory issues, and let you know what's going on there. And then beyond that, we got a special treat for you. And when we're all said and done, we're going to feed you. So, but we're going to hold that off till the end. So to get things rolling, I want to go ahead and introduce you to some of the district vice presidents that are here. And what we normally do is have them come along and stand up front with me. But if you guys would go ahead and come on up for this, I'd appreciate it. Is that it?
Mark, it's coming.
The rest of you might as well come on up too. We'll bring in the foundation. Okay, so what we have is our executive vice president, Randy Cameron. We got Mark Allred from Radcliff from District 3. We got Gary Himes from District 6. And Phil Tallman from District 11.
And he wins the award for being the furthest away.
I'll give it to him. And Rusty Kennedy, chairman of the AMA Foundation. So I'm going to turn it over to Randy to introduce himself.
All right, we've had a great weekend, I think, so far. And it's not over yet, I guess. But I really appreciate everybody that come out for the fun fly. I think it's a good event, and I've seen a lot of familiar faces. I've really enjoyed the weekend being with everyone that comes in to the event.
You have to hit that.
I have to,
you have to stand behind.
Sorry. Anyway, I don't have much more to say at the moment, but I'll pass it on to Mark.
All right. Are we using both of these?
Yeah, you have to be on the back mic too.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Radcliff. I'm the District 3 Vice President, which covers Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. I'm happy to say at this Fun Fly, I've seen a lot of my constituents out there. I think there's some in here tonight. Roy from West Virginia, Jim Martin from Ohio. Who else is in here from District 3? Anybody else? There we go. Hank and his crew, and we appreciate y'all coming. Yes, sir. Good to see you. District is going very well. Our events are going strong. I don't know what else to say about that. We're past COVID and events have finally come out and they're going full bore. So it's all good. Attendance has been really good. I want to ask the members in my district, watch your emails. You're going to see some, next week in my district, you're going to see an email coming from me asking you to write your congressional representative. We are currently in the FAA reauthorization phase. I won't go into that, but it's very critical that you send the representatives a message, and the message is pre-printed there from AMA what we're asking for. And if we use what we're asking for, we're going to get more altitude. We're going to get more leeway in calling for FRIAs and this kind of thing. So we're trying to streamline the processes. So I encourage you to please write your congressional representative. And with that, I'll turn it over.
Okay, I'm Gary Himes. I'm District 6. I'll duplicate what Mark just said for my district. Thank you guys for all coming. I hope you had a good time, and we'd like to see this event grow. It's my district. I like to see it triple in size. So if you had a good time, tell your friends. And that, Phil?
So I'm Phil Tallman from District 11. That's Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. So way far away. And yeah, I think I came the most. Anybody else here from District 11? I never see anybody. They may watch the thing. So
I've been there.
you've been there. Good. We're doing well as well. We have a jamboree next month, similar to this. It's a fun fly get together. It's on essentially the West Coast, but in Washington. Also, I'll be sending out emails. Same thing. We are trying to support everything that we're doing for the government. So please, if you get an email from me, send it on and do what we ask. And that's all that's going on. Thank you. Your turn.
I'm Rusty Kennedy. I'm chairman of the AMA Foundation. I probably talked to all of you today already, so I won't say too much up here. Most of you did notice that I had my name tag upside down for a while. I did that on purpose. Anyway, I appreciate everything you do for AMA, for the foundation. Somebody still laughed. Is it still upside down? Anyway, I will tell on myself. I'll take a couple extra seconds here. I bought raffle tickets yesterday, 40 of them, okay? Walked all day around with them raffle tickets in my back pocket. Around 2 o'clock, I checked the board and said, why am I not, my numbers aren't even close. And then a couple of guys from district presidents reminded me that those tickets were never torn apart. So I had both sides of the tickets all that time in my pocket. And then one guy said, and you're running the foundation? So, but anyway, I appreciate everything you do. But I want to talk about 3 people real quick. Rachel, if you stand, Rachel's back there, and Steve and Austin. These are the staff members that work very, very hard and do an awful lot of good work for the foundation. And I appreciate all the money and funds that you donate to the foundation and to AMA itself. So if you have any questions, I'll be right here. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Rusty. All righty. For those of you that are in the room that were donors, you were already here at lunchtime for our donor luncheon, but the importance of the foundation just can't be understated. AMA, as we think of it, is about model airplanes and going out and having a good time and enjoying the camaraderie that we did this weekend. But behind the scenes, the charitable work that AMA does is tremendous and is tremendously important. And it's through the donations and the passion and the participation of our members and donors that really make that happen. So if you haven't had a chance to participate in that, I welcome you to do so. And if you have, I thank you for doing that. What we're going to do now is talk about some of the most important people in AMA, and that's our AMA employees and staff. And I'd like Chad, our executive director, to come up and talk to you a little bit about it.
Well, good evening, all. I'm going to first introduce some of our staff. Rob, thank you for coming. Rob handles all of our communications and shepherded model aviation for decades. I see Angie Martin in the back. She heads up membership. Rachel, who Rusty introduced. Tyler Dobbs, who will talk a little bit about gov relations. We have Aaron Dobbs, who heads up a lot of our marketing and advertising initiatives. We talked about Austin. Wendy has volunteered to stay open late today to keep the museum store open. So I encourage you all after this meeting and as you're grabbing food, maybe don't carry the food out to the store, but go to the store, get some great merch and support Wendy there. Is there any other staffers?
Museum's open as well.
Oh, the museum. So Jackie's, okay, great. Great. Check out the museum, sans pizza, but check out the museum. It's a great national treasure. So I want to talk quickly about some operational updates. This is our 2023 program of work, and I'll explain quickly how that's created, and now lead into some of the staff discussions. What we do about this time each year, we start working with our various executive council committees. And in some cases, we do surveys, brainstorming sessions, and we put together a list of initiatives that we want to tackle for the following year. And that establishes our budget, that establishes how we set up our teams within the building. And then it goes to the council in October and they sign off on it. And some of the initiatives that are in here, if you notice on the cover, it's from an old Nats photo. And it shows a lot of kids building model aircraft, preparing for the big event. And I think that's symbolic of this POW, this program of work. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that's happening here. Plus it's a nice nod to the 100th anniversary of Nats, which I'll talk about in a sec. Some of the work includes just administrative cleanup. We've been cleaning up our FAI competitive blue book, our rule books and standards to have national or global competitions. We've been updating our national handbook, so when we conduct NATs to better empower our CDs, so a lot of administrative work there. We have our 100th anniversary of NATs, so you might have noticed some things like the flagpole's out. We want to create some more pomp and circumstance. We talk about staff. Staff's going to be at all the banquets, and we're going to be out there serving food to the competitors, and we created booklets, and we really want to celebrate NATs to remind people about the competitive spirit, which is part of our core DNA that I think we've gotten away from, to remind people about competition and the importance of competition and how that creates innovation. So you'll see more of that. I'm going to bring Tyler up in a second to talk about Gov Relations. Gov Relations is in here about some of the behind the scenes work and shaping the language to make our processes easier, to include altitude. So I want to give Tyler plenty of time to do Q&A. I also want to talk about the foundation, but I don't think we're quite ready yet. Are we, Austin? Okay. So let me talk about FRIAs. And then I'm going to turn over to Tyler, and then I do want to give the foundation the floor for a few minutes. And then we have a presentation and food. So FRIAs, remote ID, let's start there. In September, the FAA has passed a rule where they mandate that everyone who flies a model aircraft comply with remote ID. And there's 3 ways to comply. You go to a hobby shop, it will be baked into the software. It'll squawk information. This is Chad Budreau flying. Here's where Chad Budreau took off at. Chad's a recreational flyer. Another option is you could buy a module, and you put this little beacon inside your aircraft, and when you fly your RC aircraft, free flight and control line are exempt. So Bob, you can take a rest here. When you fly that, it would do the same thing. It would squawk. The third option that we fought very hard for is FRIAs, our FRIAs, which is FAA Recognized Identification Areas. That means if you're flying at a fixed flying site, an AMA flying field, you don't have to do a thing. You may have to fill out some paperwork, which our staff are helping you with, but the FAA would then recognize, oh, that's an established flying site. You can bring, whether it's an old Carl Goldberg plane, your Apprentice, your Cub, it doesn't matter, fly as you always have. And we're working with the FAA through that process to get those identified. And Tyler's going to talk about how we're going to even streamline that even more with your help. So remote ID is moving along. The beacons, we don't have a lot to share on other than we do have a committee that's tackling that, led by Andy Argenio, Tony Stillman, and others, where they are talking about the various beacons, working with manufacturers, getting price points, and really advocating on behalf of the hobby to ensure that these are cost-effective, simplistic, easily shareable within aircraft, and we will have more information in the coming months as we get close to that September deadline. Before I go much further in remote ID, Tyler, you might as well come up, because I'm already getting into Gov, but let's see if there are any questions about remote ID before we talk about what's going on Capitol Hill. Yes?
What kind of turnaround for this FRIA? Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 2 years? What do you think it's going to be ready?
It's a great question. So the FAA has committed to we've already been asking clubs to submit, and we have thousands already, and we're submitting those to the FAA. The FAA is starting the process of reviewing those. Now, there's a NEPA process I'm going to have Tyler explain about that we have to get through first, but we anticipate, by July we should start seeing?
Yeah, I think some clubs and some other organizations have seen a few denials. Most of those have been because they included sections that they shouldn't have. Maybe they, included a neighbor's house or something along those lines. And obviously that would be outside of our safety programming to fly, above an occupied structure. The FAA can deny right now, but they can't approve. And the reason that they can't approve is because this action taken by the federal government required that an environmental assessment be done for the flying sites around the country. Obviously, that would be a massive undertaking for our organization. Yes. And so we reached out to the FAA and said, hey, we want to help you. What we do for the most part is very similar at every site around the country. There's some nuances here and there, but not enough to make much of a difference. So let's start collecting data at a couple flying sites around the country, and we'll use that for your process, from state to state. And that's exactly what we did. We worked with Prince George Club just outside of DC, collected quite a bit of data. The FAA in turn took that and developed their report and said, for the most part, model aircraft operations have such a low impact that we don't need to go to every club and take a look at each club individually. And because of that, they wrote up their report, they published it to the Federal Register. Comments were due, I believe, May 3rd of this year. The FAA has 60 days to adjudicate those comments, where the July date comes into play. On July 3rd will be the 60 days. Once that's done, they can start approving these. They currently have a team of about 5 people that are working the applications. They're jumping that up, we hear, to 38. So 38 people working on applications and approvals. They're going to move through these rather quickly. I know there's a lot of concerns that they won't be approved before that September 16th deadline. I think with a team that robust, I don't think there's really going to be an issue. There may be a few, outliers. Maybe they're near something that the FAA says, hey, this is flagged. We're going to have to take a look at this individually. I think you could probably count those sites on one hand. It's just not going to be an issue. So I think in within the next month, we'll start seeing approvals roll out in regards to FRIAs.
Let me add some quick color commentary to that. If you're part of a club and you're not sure whether your club has submitted a FRIA, the path to do that is through AMA. So we ask that only one person on behalf of your club coordinate with AMA so we don't have duplication of efforts and some confusion that way. So get with your club officers, make sure your club officer has identified that person and is working with the AMA staff to get that submitted. Yes.
So I know I submitted it, but I have not received an email confirmation that it's been received or anything yet.
Okay, so there should be, as we work through this process, you'll receive 3 emails. The day you submit it, you get 1 email, and it's basically the information that you submitted. Could have ended up in a junk folder, but when you hit that submit button, it says, hey, here's a form you filled out, here's all that information. If you did not, then it's possible that did not get submitted.
What's your club number or your name?
Todd Howell.
Okay.
Yeah, we can check, because that's kind of the first step. When you hit submit, it sends an email to us, the team that's working on the FRIAs, and then the email that you put into the data box.
What club?
Fairborn Flying Aces. Phone number is 937-727-4416.
All right, I'll pass it along.
Yeah, and just for the rest of the group, you'll get that initial email. When the team submits it to the FAA, you'll get a second email that says, hey, we just took your questionnaire and we submitted that information to the FAA. The third email you receive will be from the FAA, and it will be an approval or denial, and it will go to the point of contact and that email address that he or she entered.
And I didn't know because our field is in a controlled airspace, if that had anything to do with it or not.
No, we have about 10% of our clubs, a little over, that are in controlled airspace, and the process works the same for both.
Message sent. Yes.
That's the same, we've never done anything back, or my club is. And I was the one who filled out the stuff and sent them.
Did you get an email that instantly, as soon as you hit the submit button, that said no? Have you checked your spam or your junk folder to look for that? Okay.
All right, let me get your name while I send this out.
Roy Grimm.
Well, why don't I do this? I'll catch you afterwards, and then I'll get it then.
Yeah. Rich?
Just for clarification on that last email, if the FAA is just wanting additional information, not a denial necessarily, but before they approve it, they need more info, Does that go to you guys or to the club?
That just, so Rich just asked, on a few of these sites, the FAA's asked some additional information. And when they do that, they send that to the person within AMA headquarters that submitted the application. They may say, hey, we notice it looks like a commercial building on the northwest corner. Does the club own that, or is that property they lease, or is that a commercial business? And we follow up with the FAA and the club to find out what the answer to that question would be.
Let's do one more on remote ID.
Okay, why should we do anything on remote ID that one option is good for everyone? So, why not just leave us alone?
I'm not sure. So the question is one more time.
Why do this FAA worry about us
Oh, yes.
instead of worrying about regular airplanes?
We ask that all the time.
Yeah, we agree. You know, we're easy to identify. We fly line of sight. The person that's piloting the aircraft's easy to find. It's the guy or gal that's, you know, standing at the edge of the field below the aircraft or very close to it. Unfortunately, it's not just the FAA that's pushing this. It's really Department of Defense and other national security agencies. You know, they urge Congress to make these rules, and, you know, they swing a big hammer when they say we want this, and that's something that's difficult to push back on. But we are pushing back, and I'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, any other remote ID questions? Let's talk about some solutions in legislation as we speak, and we need your help to get those solutions passed. That includes expediting FRIAs in remote ID. Tyler?
Sure. So as Chaz mentioned, and Mark and others, we are currently going through FAA reauthorization, and that is when Congress gives authorizations to the FAA. That can be in form of funding, mandates, requirements, policies, and so forth. And those expire from, you know, in a set length of time. It can be 1 to typically 5 years. The last bill was 5 years. It looks like this next bill is going to be 5 years as well. In that bill, which is giant, hundreds of pages, you will find section that model aircraft and other UAS operators are required to follow. The House has their version of the bill, which has passed the committee that writes it, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. It's been voted out of that committee, and it's ready to be voted on the floor. The Senate has a bill drafted, and they are getting ready to vote it out of committee here in the coming days, weeks, or months. In both bills, they're very similar. AMA worked with both committees to get language included that now includes a process to get us higher than 400 feet in Class G airspace. It corrects some of the language and issues we've had with large model aircraft operations regarding altitudes and where they can fly. It cleans up an educational provision and now allows elementary schools and primary schools to fly under the recreational rules without needing to go through the FAA and be a certificated pilot. Provides funding to educate the general public and a host of other things. Those are the larger ones. But the provisions in the bill as they stand, if passed how they are, would put us in much better position than where we currently are with current legislation. That being said, we have amendments filed in both the House and the Senate that make things even better. In regards to altitude, the amendments would allow everybody, regardless if you're flying at a fixed flying site or flying in your backyard, to fly up to controlled airspace without requesting authorization from anybody. For most of the country, that's 1,200 feet. If you're close to controlled airspace, that's going to be 700 feet, just depending on your location, but it would get you to 700 or 1,200 without putting in a request to anybody. If you wanted to go higher than that, it would put a process in place that you could ask the FAA to fly higher than that 700 or 1,200 feet altitude, so that's huge. The second part of the amendment would allow AMA and other CBOs to self-designate FRIAs, so we wouldn't have to go through this application process. You know, you could come to us and say, hey, we fly at this location, we would like to make it a FRIA, and we could do that as a community-based organization. So that would be very beneficial for AMA, the other CBOs, and the FAA. we are using quite a bit of resources going through this process. It would take some of the guidelines that the FAA has in place, and it would allow us to make changes to that. So we certainly hope we get that through. And then the last thing on the amendments is it requires that community-based organizations like AMA be trust or the recreational test, that they administer those tests. So we are requesting that members send letters to their congressional representatives. Right now, it's just your congressman or congresswoman. We are in a very good position with the Senate, so we're not asking you to reach out to senators just yet. That may change. We hope this is the only time this year that we have to ask you to take action. But a lot's going to depend on whether or not you actually take action. So I hope everybody in this room will, go tell your friends and family to go online, go to modelaircraft.org/advocacy and click a button. It's as easy as filling out a little bit of contact information and clicking submit. So with that, I'll see if there's any questions. Okay, I will mention briefly that this year, and it kind of has been lost in the shuffle, but we did finally get a process in place to request higher altitudes at sanctioned events in uncontrolled airspace. That's something we've been working on for quite a bit. So if you have a sanctioned event, you want to fly higher, once you sanction the event, you're going to get an email. It's going to say, hey, if you want to fly higher, you need to do a couple steps. It's as easy as issuing a NOTAM. I know Chad and Randy came down to my office the other day and we issued a NOTAM in 3 or 4 minutes for this event. It's nothing. So if you need to fly higher, when you sanction that event, go through those steps, send AMA the NOTAM number, and you'll be authorized to fly higher.
I know that's a lot to unpack. The one message I want you to hear, aside from the fact that the Gov team's doing an amazing job, is go back to your hotel, or when you go home, go to modelaircraft.org/advocacy. Even if you didn't process all what Tyler said, the main message is hit that submit button. It's critical you hit that submit button so we can gain higher altitudes, gain easier access and exemptions from requiring those beacons at flying fields and all the other benefits he mentioned. So share that at your clubs, share that at other events, share that to family members. You don't have to be a member to do that. modelaircraft.org/advocacy. Any questions for Gov? Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Gov team. And before you get pizza, that's going to be your question. Did you hit submit yet? If you didn't, you do not get pizza. So, Randy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chad. Phil is going to help me out a little bit here. We've got a couple of awards that we want to give out. Just give us a second.
Oh, go ahead. So when I left the field to come into this meeting, Joyce was going to go home. And I told Joyce she can't go home. She has to come to this meeting. And I said, yes, I was sure. She has to come to this meeting. We have an award. It's really a privilege to be able to award, to be part of the awards that we do here at the AMA. And one of the biggest awards that we do, this is a fellowship award. And this fellowship award is for Joyce Hager. I want to read what's written on here. Membership in the grade of fellow. No amount of gratitude can convey our appreciation to Joyce Hager. Her decades of service through her loyalty, hard work, and dedication to the AMA and its members. So Joyce.
And we're going to lose Joyce. She's getting ready to retire after 50 plus years, and she's just a wealth of knowledge and been around. And I call her the mom of AMA.
Everybody calls her mom.
Dad,
Pictures second.
you can stay up here if you want. And I wanted all the council members, if they have anything they want to say about Joyce, if you come on up here and do that real quick.
You have free reign to say something about Joyce.
Oh, well.
You mean this is a roast?
No, not quite. But
Not really a roast, no.
I haven't been on council that long, relatively speaking, but like Randy said, She's my mom, and I needed anything, she always took care of me. When I was stupid, she straightened me out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, there's a saying out there, what is the saying that the only thing constant is change, okay? And I disagree, it's change, but it's also the only thing that's constant is Joyce. Longevity, this lady, 53 years, going way back to Reston, Virginia, and moving over here. And whenever we need something, she's the go-to person. She's been through several AMA presidents, executive directors. And again, that's change, but she's the constant. So, but that's about to change. So good luck in your retirement.
Thank you, Mark. Here we go.
Well, I don't know that I could add much more than that, but, I've had the privilege of working with AMA at the national level for over 30 years now. I started back in 1993 as a District 10 VP, and there's been one constant over that entire period of time, and that's been Joyce has been at the helm in one fashion or another. She has held just about every position within the AMA, from the entry-level position to the executive director position, so it's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
And just so you know, if you're not aware of the Fellowship Award, it actually is the highest award that we present
It is.
within the Academy. We think of the Hall of Fame as being the highest award, but that's actually a separate category. That's a separate process by which we get to that. So they're sort of parallels, but within the AMA award structure, it's the highest award you can achieve. It comes with a lifetime membership, and it's very well deserved.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah.
And I've got one other fellowship award I'd like to present, and it's to Mr. Frazier. And
Told you had to be here.
in appreciation for his selfless and continued support for the Academy of Model Aeronautics as a life member, national champion, competitor, and volunteer to the Academy. Thank you, Terry.
Very much appreciated.
Thanks to all the little people. Joyce is, she's been a rock. She tells me stories every day of the academy that happened years and years ago. New stories every day. So thank you very much.
Here you go.
Steve, I'm going to give you the floor for a few minutes just to talk quickly about the foundation, and then I'm going to turn it back over to the council.
Okay, thank you, Chad. So hi, I'm Steve Haston. I'm the foundation director, and I have Rachelle Haughn with me. She is with the foundation as well.
Hello.
So we're excited about multiple things, and I met a lot of you out there today at the Fun Fly. So I hope we had some raffle winners in here. I know we had some really successful raffle winners in here, but I do want to say, thank you for supporting that raffle. We had donations from District 6. We had donations from Horizon Hobby, from Budreau, and just so many. All those funds go to support the foundation and the very many programs that we push out. Rachelle, do you want to give this good news on the total number of grants we've done?
Okay, so let's see here. We've had so far 441 clubs get $731,000 total in flying sign improvement grants. So I don't know if your club has benefited or you've heard of it, but so it's a really great program. The application's open October 1st and it's pretty competitive. Clubs can use it to purchase land. They can use it to fix runways, just do general improvements, fencing, shelters, all kinds of things. So if your club's interested, make sure you apply starting October 1st. I believe it closes February 1st, 2024. We also have had 137 clubs receive Takeoff and Grow grants, and that is for a club to hold an event to introduce model aviation to the community. And that has been for a total of $140,868. And so far, we also have clubs that can get what's called a disaster relief grant. So if they have some kind of natural disaster, they can apply for a natural disaster relief grant that's been going on for quite a while. We've had so far 153 clubs receive that grant. And then finally, this year we awarded scholarships to some students, and our total for that has been a cumulative total of $1.35 million. And that has gone to 367 students since the program started. Yes, and we also have a new grant, used to be part of the Flying Site Improvement Grant, and it's called the Save a Life Grant. And that is also online, and you can apply for that. If you purchase an automated external defibrillator for your club, or AED, you can receive up to $200, 25% up to $200 of the cost of that. So it's a good way for clubs to make sure they're safer and taking care of their members, and just in case any kind of emergency happens, they're prepared for that. We've had so far a couple of clubs have applied for that. It just opened online June 1st and became a new grant June 1st.
Okay, so this is how the foundation works. We run around and bounce from spot to spot because we're working hard for you and trying to make things happen. But seriously, we are having some technical difficulty, but we talk about fuel your passion. We have a member who really wants to fuel his passion by talking to you. The plan was to be live on Zoom. Austin tells me we're having some technical difficulties. We can't get that in. So I'm going to put a member and a club who's been in existence since like 1935. Very passionate about scholarships. I'm going to try to bring Bob up there. Is that okay, Chad?
Perfect. I'll hold the
All right,
mic while you do that.
Okay, so you have a room full of members here. We've just briefly introduced you, and I want to let you take over from there and kind of talk about your passion and commitment and the Plainsman, and introduce the group to your generous gift.
First of all, my name is Bob Grove. I was a member of the Plainsman for a long time, president, and when I moved to Oklahoma, I dropped the club and went to a club up here. And since then, they've contacted me, and they're closing down the club. They voted me in as there were not too many members, but voted me in as president. Go ahead and close this club down. To give you an idea what I'm working with is the last meeting or so that the club had, and I wasn't there, that they wanted to sell off the property that they bought many years ago and give those funds AMA. And bring you up to speed on that, we bought back in the 70s, we bought a couple lots out in the country and paid for them. It didn't cost us very much. So now we are selling them. Actually, we have sold them, and we've got a proceed of a little over $400,000, those two lots. And we got a bill or two to pay, and then after that, then the rest of it is going to be given to AMA. So it's a sizable fund, and I'm very proud to do that for the Plainsman. Plainsman joined the AMA about the time that they started it up, and I'm not sure exactly what date that was. But prior to that, they were known as the Fort Worth Gas Model Club. And I did look that up and found a article that the newspaper in Fort Worth put out, and had a picture and talked about him a little bit, and that was in 1940. So the club goes way back. It's an old club, and they've been around forever. And that kind of gives you the history about everything, and also what we're working with as far as funds for AMA. We are very excited about doing this. I personally hate that the club has lost interest and they're closing it down because of the history. But so be it. That's just going to have to happen, I guess. But anyway, I think it's very good that the club members said we wanted to take the funds and give it to AMA. So that's what I've been working with Steve with, and we should finish it up here in another month or so. And that's, do I have any questions?
No, but I sure appreciate the donation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you could hear that, Bob, everybody is thanking you and for your passion and for that, and they share your sadness over the club closing. And I will say that Bob and the group will be joining us in a future date to personally come by and deliver that.
Yes. That's our plan. I don't know whether anybody can come with me, but at least I will be there.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you very much for your applause and everything. All I'm doing is representing the Plainsmen, and it's an old club. Some of you may even know about the Plainsmen, but it just got saddens me that we've got to close down because that's kind of the new way things are done.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you, Bob.
thanks again to Bob and that $400,000 donation that goes towards scholarships and other programs. One more thing I want to share is there's a big thank you sign to Papa John's up there. So we're saying thank you. Papa John's donated this in honor of the membership and of the foundation as a goodwill gesture to the community. Aaron's asking if we can all collectively just do a quick video shout out to say thank you to Papa John's to earn some goodwill so they continue feeding us and supporting events like this. So if I'm asking if you all be up for it on the count of 3 to say thank you, Papa John's. Ready, Aaron? 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Papa John's. Let's go eat. Oh, Rich wants to get a close. Yeah, we'll play the foundation video while we're eating to see where some of those funds go towards. Go eat.